Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the campaign log. Last time we left off, the players were at the top of the staircase, getting ready to go down. I replaced the black pudding with a plasma ooze, because the black pudding that they fought up here wasn't really difficult enough for me to consider it worth a quarter of a level for the lot of them. They did end up defeating it, despite having immunity to most damage, and they basically just used the fact that the doors are giant and made of stone, but still only take a move action to open or close to defeat it. So I think in the future I'm going to try using mostly dungeons that have larger open rooms for battle, so that way door cheese does not have much of an option. But this dungeon wasn't meant to be difficult in battle and have a lot of strategy in it. I just wanted to use the 3D dungeon. I mean, look at it. It's amazing. They did end up triggering all 3 of the wards on the pillars, but we'll get to that in a minute. After they went down here, they dealt with the 4 glass golems that were in this hallway. They did fairly well. They did not, however, harvest to their arms. They didn't even think about it. They didn't, ask anything about it. I suppose I probably should put more of a hint in there, but like, they would count as, I believe, +2 longswords. +2 longswords. And there was 6 of them in the dungeon. They didn't harvest off any of them, so that's a significant amount of loot that they did not get. But they did go in here. They saw the statue, which was just a statue of the person who's buried here in the main sarcophagi. They opened the other 6. They did realize they were magically trapped. One per the monk that has 1 level blood rager used his what's it called? His Cyclops helm used for the day to critically hit the object, which I realize now can't critically hit objects, but I forgot about that. And one of the things that the Phoenix Blood Rager line can do that he has is it can make a dispel check when you critically hit something. And his plan originally was to use his luck feats to get a +8, but he had used all his up for the day, so he ended up using his 4-leaf clover, and he has the trait for extra luck, so that was +3 bonus. He did not disable them. I think he rolled like a 10 total or something because he rolled poorly on the die. And in the sarcophagi, so in the first one they opened up, there were boots of teleportation. In the second one they opened up, there was +2 flame burst longsword that they were not able to initially identify. But when they got back to town after all this was over, the alchemist went and got a permanent arcane sight on him, so that way he could take a crack at identifying them, and he succeeded. His spellcraft is much higher than the war priest's. There was a wand of greater invisibility with 13 charges left. The wand itself is made of solid gold and weighs 5 pounds, so without any magic it's worth 250 gold pieces. There's +2 adamantine dagger in there and a set of masterwork adamantine thieves tools. So I believe the thieves tools they immediately put on someone. Yeah, the war priest has those because they're the one that's been disarming stuff. I believe the war priest also took the boots of teleportation. They found a mithril chain shirt that at first they were not able to identify, but after they got the arcane sight, it was a +1 light fortification. I believe the gunslinger took that because that's I basically went through and saw which of them don't have enchanted armor yet, and a chain shirt. So yeah, the gunslinger is gonna be having that. So here are 2 of the custom items. These are the only ones that were in the sarcophagi. First one is the Crown of Antlers. It's a head slot item. It molds into the wearer's head, granting a primary natural gore attack at 1d6 medium. So basically the default gore attack. And if the wearer already has a gore attack, instead increases the effective size by 1, and it functions while in wild shape or under the effects of polymorph. And I believe the War Priest also took that one, since they have it by attack and have already been using full attacks to allow themselves to attack with natural attacks as well. Second thing they found, the necklace, they did not initially identify and had to wait until the alchemist got the arcane sight. But this one's a minor artifact, which basically just means it's more difficult to destroy and really difficult to make. So they're not gonna be able to all have one of these, and that's really all minor artifact means. You know, if it's a major artifact or a relic or something, that's when you start getting into it. Basically has to be high level at that point. Minor artifact is just an excuse as to why they can't figure out a way to make more at the end of the day. But yeah, it's gives a enhanced bonus to craft alchemy, and it grants a quote unquote lesser version of any potion in it, and whatever potions in it can be drunk as swift or immediate action. So for example, healing spells such as a level 3 cure spell will grant fast healing equal to the higher of either the level of the spell or 1/3 the caster level. So the 3rd level cure spell would be fast healing 3. If it was caster level 18, it would be fast healing 6. So fairly powerful, but not something that's gonna tip the scales too much. Just a little bit of, it's basically just extra health at that point. Then they went, so the magical traps on there, they didn't actually disarm them. The monk, when he failed to dispel it, got targeted by the magical trap, and it was just a blindness spell. He failed his save, became blind, and he thought, hey, you know, there's probably the same trap on all of these. Why don't I just go over and pop this other one open? And I was like, yeah, no, it's the same blindness on this one. And the War Priest spent 15 minutes preparing an unprepared spell slot to get blindness, or remove blindness. And then they opened the door into the room with 4 more sarcophagi, and at that point, the War Priest just summoned an air elemental to open them all up, and stirred up a bunch of dust in the room. And of course, summoned creatures lose any, you know, damage and debuffs and whatnot they get when they become unsummoned, so it wasn't that big of a deal. They then went on into the last room. They took a minute to unlock the door, and the monk just went through and crossed to the first set of pillars, set off the magical trap in that section. It summoned 2 of these guys. They're basically just evil man-eating doppelgangers that aren't nearly as good at disguising themselves as a person, and they see with blind sight because they don't have eyes or a nose, and they like fire. They have breath weapon. Their natural attacks do fire damage. They heal fully from any fire damage, and they have fast healing. So they were catching each other in each other's breath weapons to basically heal each other while fighting. And they didn't do too much. You know, they did a decent amount of damage to 3 of the players just because they didn't have evasion. And so even if they succeeded their save, they still took like 10 damage, 10, 15 damage, I think. 66, so that'd be an average of what, 18 successful save. Yeah, so they're taking like 9 damage of breath weapon. I think 3 breath weapons went down. So yeah, a decent amount of damage overall. And of course, since they are intelligent, they have human intelligence, they did a lot of flanking and stuff and going towards the weaker guys for while their breath weapons were recharging. They did attempt to disarm the other 2, sets of pillars, but he failed the DC because he wasn't rolling very well. The second one was a wall of fire. He basically just jumped through the wall of fire, took a little bit of damage because the War Priest has fire resistance due to being a fire-themed Dragonborn. And just started using the Adamine Dagger to scrape the carved runes out of space, and it slowly weakened the spell until it was basically like 2 inches tall, and then you just step over it. The third one was a wall of force that, where was it? So thing was, I was making the wall of force based off memory, but I use emergency force sphere a lot more often, which is only 20 hardness. So there's a big confusion there. If the wall of force is 30 hardness, they need to be able to do at least 30 hardness and attack. And I was like, well, hold on. I set it to 20 hardness because I was remembering the wrong spell, but I'm going to stick with 20 hardness because I also granted the wall of force, it self-repairs at 10 hit points per round. And it had a total of 200 hit points. So effectively what they ended up doing was just they teleported behind there. And I'm not sure if this is the right way to do it, but boots of teleportation say exactly as if the wearer had cast the teleport spell, and the teleport spell lets you take 1 extra person with you for every 3 caster levels. And the boots of teleportation are caster level 9, so they could get all 4 of them in a teleport. I have no idea if that's the intended mechanic, but they are a fairly high level magic item, so maybe. So they all went back there, started looking through the what was her name? The Oracle's sarcophagus. They found there are several magical things in here. They identified the Crown of Conquest, and I think they also identified her staff, which was basically just a modified higher level Staff of the Hierophant, so very expensive. It had a few extra spells on it. It acted as a +4/+4 quarterstaff, because quarterstaff's a double weapon, so both ends need to be enchanted separately. And it's a minor artifact of Idite, the god of the church that they're working for. And it has some stuff on there about what happens if evil and neutral characters wield it, because only good characters are supposed to be able to wield it. A little buff if the wielder is a priest of Idite. And yeah, it's also shattered into several pieces. It was broken during the combat she was slain in. The 2 things they did not identify until the alchemist got Arcane Sight was a prosthetic eye and the mage's robe she had. They were good aligned archmage's robes, so none of the players can really use them because there's only one arcane caster in the group, and that's the monk, because apparently Blood Rager is the only low caster that counts as a caster at level 1 because bloodlines. And then the eye was another minor artifact, not of a god, just a minor artifact because difficult to create and all that. The Scrying Eye of Althea. It grants dark vision to whoever has it. So I think the alchemist ended up paying somebody to surgically remove his eye and put the Scrying Eye in. So now the whole party is dark vision. He doesn't have to have his ever burning lantern out all the time. It grants a +2 enhancement bonus to sight-based perception checks, and the big thing that does is once you spend at least 24 hours with it in, it quote-unquote attaches to you, so that if you remove it, you can still see through it as long as you're on the same plane. And no one else puts it in for 24 hours before you get back to it. It can stick to most surfaces with a command word, basically anything that adhesive would be able to stick to. So, smooth glass, polished metal, it might have some difficulty, but most surfaces are going to be wood or rough stone, so they shouldn't have too much trouble with having it stick to things. And it also grants a couple of spell-like abilities. Now, usually magic items are use active or like triggered magic items that do a spell from the item. some of the stuff I make is it grants spell-like abilities. So now he just has spell-like abilities as long as he is the owner of the eye. 1 per day scrying and 3 per day augury. They didn't seem super, no one in the party seems super excited about that, so they're probably not going to use those spells very much unless they're like spying on somebody for some reason. After that, they went and teleported back to town, where the alchemist went and got the eye removed and the eye put in after he got permanent arcane sight. And then I think we were pretty much done with the session. Oh no, yeah. I skipped a part of the dungeon. This room, there were 2 more of the glass golems in it. The alchemist went like pretty much just charged in, so that way he can see into the room, and got brought down to like 2 hit points with 4 bleed, and he did a full withdrawal out of the room, drawing the wand of harming because he heals from negative energy, and told him, hey, I'm about to drop down, you guys need to heal me with this. And I think he ended up at like -7 before they managed to start healing him. So it was close, because I think he's only got he's got 14 constitution, so he had 2 more. He had at least, he could have gone 1 more round without dying, but 2 rounds and they would have had to spend a bit of money to get him back. And that chest just had a bunch of gold bars in it. Let's see, 12 gold bars at 300 gold pieces each. And then they also, when they defeated the plasma ooze, they harvested a bit of it, because they may want to make it transformative out of it later. They haven't gotten around to it yet because they need more money to be able to afford a higher end transformative. And the thing has a lot of hit dice, which makes the transformative a bit more expensive. But yeah, back in the city, I believe they haven't really done anything yet other than the alchemist, and it was mostly a lot of rules questions about yeah, so they leveled up again because they 100% of the dungeon, and my key points for leveling was 1/4 level for the prophecy, 1/4 level for the plasma ooze, 1/4 level for getting the shattered staff, and a 1/4 level for 100%ing the dungeon. So they 100% of the dungeons, so they got the full level. And the war priest had a question about a sacred weapon ability, because apparently neutral war priests can put spell storing on their weapon, but they can only do it rounds per level per day for the weapon enhancements. So when I heard that, I was like, why who would do that? Like, for a second in my head, I was like, and then I just like started giving a ruling, like, yeah, so that would last, like, if you stored a spell 2 weeks ago and popped spell storing back on it today, the spell would still be stored in there. And he was like, yeah, that's what I was hoping to hear. And I was like, and then I started doing the complaining of, who thought it was a good idea to put spell storing on something that only lasts rounds per day? Like, how is that supposed to help? Just double move at that point. It would be a better use of your time than storing a spell in it. So yeah, it's gonna work the way he wants it to, because that's the only way it actually does work. Otherwise, he's not just never going to use the ability, or well, he's never going to put spell storing on there. And he's true neutral, so he doesn't have any of the other stuff to put on there. But yeah, so he should start having a spell stored up in there most days, I think. Just takes a bit more actions than a normal spell storing would, because he's got swift action to activate it in the first place. Yeah, it should be it. Next session, they should be going back to the church, and then to their downtime, and moving on to the next arc of the main story, because I don't want to do another one of those households again. So yeah, they're gonna sell. Oh, they still have to stealth stuff too, but they can teleport to do that now, so they don't have to pay for the train tickets. But yeah, that should be it. I'll see you guys for the campaign log next week.